days to go until Prince Caspian's released. It's just absolutely unreal after all the conversations about Reepicheep's fur and Susan fighting and global warming and the White Witch and the battle and blah blah blah. It's all come down to these last 50 days of anticipation for Prince Caspian. So just crazy right now that we're that close. But until then, here's another review for some Prince Caspian toys.
Next up, it's the Glenstorm and Peepiceek 2-pack. I got Glenstorm because he's one of my favorite secondary characters from the book, and they probably won't make him as a Disney Store exclusive. And then Peepiceek just kind of came with him. But let's take a look at these guys. First off, Glenstorm's the tallest figure I've gotten yet. He's 4.5 inches tall. And if I turn him this way, from back to front, he's almost 4 inches long. Peepiceek is less than an inch tall. Or actually, just over an inch, I should say. So let me put Peepiceek next to there so you can...
Well, yeah, but Glenstorm isn't at his full height,
And I'm going to put Caspian in here so you have a reference. There you can see that Glenstorm is clearly the tallest. Caspian is 3.5 inches tall. So you can just get an idea of scale.
With more bars and more places.
And let's take a look at design here. Glenstorm, 2 big thumbs up for design. You just look at the detail that goes into his armor, and the skin looks pretty realistic. And so you look at his shoulder pad thingies there, and you can tell that they loosely resemble the shoulder pads or whatever, the pauldrons or whatever you call them from the first movie. And his face,
There's a bit of a problem with him holding it, but we'll get into that later.
Yes, his face looks enough like Cornell John on the set. And because of the hair, you can't turn his head, unfortunately. But
it almost looks like a Jedi action figure.
Possibly.
The upper torso.
But very nice how that connects. So, two big thumbs up for Glenstorm for design.
Ooh.
He comes with a huge sword. I mean, the sword is longer than him, I think. Let's see. The sword is actually longer than him.
Not taller.
Not taller. Or is it? Pretty close. The sword is almost as tall as him. He also comes with this thingy. I'm not sure what you call it. But
I could have sworn someone commented on that in an earlier video.
Yes. But now let's take a look at Peepiceek here, who's just over an inch high. And I'm very glad to say that his rapier cannot come out of his hand, because I would almost certainly lose it. I mean, like, it'd be hard to get it in his hand in the first place. It's so little. So I'm glad they just decided to say, "Oh, the heck with it." So they just made it part of his arm.
Comedic poses.
Well, I don't know about comedic poses, but
well, you were kind of laughing when you had him standing on the
I did. I got him into a pose where he was standing on a Telmarine. It was kind of funny.
Had his rapier right through the mask.
But he's got, see the paint. I'm hoping Reepicheep will be darker, although from the pictures it looks like he won't.
But he does have the feather in the pictures.
And this guy is actually, surprisingly for his size, he's actually fairly posable. I mean, like, you can
even move his neck.
You turn his head there and makes it so he's looking up. And so I'm actually, for such a small figure, I'm actually pretty impressed. I wouldn't expect to get this much posability out of such a little figure. So
you couldn't get that out of a Yoda action figure.
Nope. And then pretty happy with the design as well for such a little figure. But this is where, since they've rescaled, they're doing a different scale for these guys than the Hasbro toys. That's where it really suffers, because these really little guys like Reepicheep and Truffle Hunter and Peepiceek are really going to suffer. Here's a Hasbro toy. Yeah, for reference, he's even...
Get out of my sight.
Hasbro toy is even taller than Glenstorm. But, so that's really going to suffer. These little guys are going to be teeny tiny because of the smaller scale they're doing. Glenstorm, posability, doesn't have a lot of posability, per se.
And he has trouble holding his weapons.
It stands up pretty easily. One thing I like is that it's pretty easy to get him into different standing positions. I guess you only have a few options here. But,
could you get him into a galloping position?
Probably not. Let's see. I could do that. That's almost a gallop, I suppose. Let's see.
You know, maybe we should just stick to him standing on all fours.
Yeah, to get him to stand up there. Well, it's not cooperating for the video, but there you go.
The armor loosely resembles the old one.
Yep, he's got some armor on the front there as well. And
not on his back, though. The back end of his horse.
And so you can get him in a few different poses. Here you get him kind of low down here. And I got some freedom there. So, then he's got an action feature. Let me give him his sword here.
I also like the handle design of the sword more than mine. not.
And no ball joint on the shoulders, which I initially didn't like, and it's an unfortunate thing. You'd be able to get into much cooler poses if you could, but his action figure is done by taking his back right leg and just pulling it back like that.
Dramatic, isn't
and
it?
Here's what he does.
It's actually a pretty cool action feature when you think
He
about it.
twists and lifts his arm at the same time. I think this is a fantastic action figure. Let me pull that up there so you can see it better. And you see it from the back.
I think it's more dramatic when it's from the front.
Yeah, I really like, get the camera.
Yeah, whatever.
But as disappointing as it is that that he doesn't have ball joints in the shoulders and that limits.
But they somewhat made up for it.
They definitely made up for it, because I generally don't like action features, but this is a really, really cool action figure. Yes, like I've done this. Like I can actually see doing this a lot, like well in play, and so.
Yeah, but not so much the pose.
House comes with that thing, and this thing, his left hand. It doesn't matter whether you put the sword or this thingy.
You can't hold anything.
Someone post a comment and tell me what this is. I could probably look it up, but I'm not going to. But no matter what you put in his left hand, this left hand is just too wide. He can't seem to quite fit anything in there. You put that in, and it kind of slops off to one side. And so I usually don't play with that thing in there because it just fall off.
Use it when he's pushing over a Talmarine or something. I don't know.
Possibly.
He could probably put in a whole Talmarine.
But that thing tends to fall out of his hand pretty easily.
Exactly.
Behold.
Though I don't think they're going to be shaking him up and down too much.
Right. So, overall, I gotta say, this is one of my favorite toys just because he has a cool action figure and
action feature.
And he's a cool action figure. And I love the design. And I think Peepiceek, must say, for such a little figure, Peepiceek is actually a pretty cool toy. And so I got to give these guys, once again, 2 big thumbs up. These are some of my favorites. And it's very cool because...
it's the favorites out of the one he bought.
Because it's one of my favorite... he's one of my favorite secondary characters. And Peepiceek, obviously, just being a mouse. And gives me hope that Reaper will be just as cool. In fact, they'll probably be exactly the same mold, I'm sure. Just slightly recolored.
What are they supposed to do?
So very, very happy with these guys. Very, very happy. These guys are great.